Hi, I'm ChiaHui. Today I will talk about STEM education. Before the start, I wanna ask you, as a teacher, have you experienced that you standing in front of students and just teaching the fixed curriculum? And even though you felt you taught smoothly, confidently, but you saw that some students' faces were blank. Sometimes we might slow down our tempo, but sometimes we have to catch up the teaching plan. Otherwise, those curriculum wouldn't be finished before the academic examination. Those curriculum contain too many content, but our teaching time is limited. Also, students can't learn completely so that they face the learning difficulties and even give up because they don't gain any rewards from academic achievement and gradually lose their learning motivation and interest. Let's look Taiwanese students' performance in the 2018 PISA. Even though our worldwide ranking is located within the top 10, these students actually, if we look at the TIMSS in 2015, it showed that the learning attitude and engagement in mathematics and science is ranked the bottom area. Under the learning framework of pursuing academic performance, we just trained our students to cope with tests, but we are not nurturing creative talent, leaders, and creators which we lose for our society. Education is not merely to deliver knowledge, but to help students explore their interests and cultivate their capacities to achieve their goals, or even become a lifelong learner. So if we don't want to see students become helpless and uncertain in their learning, STEM education is the way to transform the traditional mindset to arise both teachers and students' teaching and learning motivation. In STEM education, students practice their learning in hands-on activity, peer communication. In STEM education, students practice their learning in hands-on activities, peer communications, and cooperation toward their common goal. In the 21st century, knowledge is not the priority, but rather creativity, critical thinking, problem-solving skills, and cooperation are. I will show you an example of STEM practice in Taiwan. This school is located in East Taiwan, where the majority is of originals, and the education resources and the teachers in there are often insufficient. Hence, those students' academic performance is below the average level. Therefore, this is a good place for practicing STEM education because they have a lot of space to progress, and they wouldn't have any complaint from parents. Such STEM practice, however, it is not common in the formal education systems, especially those schools in cities, because they are focused on performance. In this STEM practice, the teacher, Mr. Shi, adapted the project-based learning to ask his year-8 students to create the project they designed as the final task. This group of students designed a Ferris wheel that referenced the landing eye and scaled down to 1 to 100th, and the function of the Ferris wheel is a solar-powered night light that can controlled remotely by phone. These photos showed their creative process. They were allowed to use the 3D printer, the laser cutter, to build their project. During the design and creating process, students learned the ratio, measurement, and even Pythagorean theorem of mathematical concept, also the scientific contempt for and static balance they learned when they assemble each unit of the wheel. They also use the programming to decide the remote control. Actually, there's too much knowledge in the project design if we focus on more details. The biggest difference between traditional class learning and STEM learning is that students learn and build knowledge through practice. They no longer compute the size and the direction of the force on paper, but do it in the real world. They would face more difficulties than the computing on the paper. Rather, the difficulties lies in selecting of the materials, assembling different ideas from group members. They have to cope with this through trial and error, evaluation, and negotiation. These are all important skills in the real-world workplace. In addition, the key is that students are engaged in their learning process. They enjoy it regardless of the process, which can be so tough. So, in my opinion, no matter how the process is difficult or unfamiliar, as long as we have the interest and motivation in it, we will make it and keep going the further learning. As a result, in the STEM education, the boundaries between disciplines are blurred, and the classroom setting is not like the usual lecture style. The relationships between peers focus more on cooperation rather than competition. Also, STEM education is to provide the opportunity for students to make their learning and their desired ideas feasible. Although there are many concerns from all directions, the benefits from STEM education outweigh its concerns. In order to promote the ideas of STEM education, it needs efforts from different levels. In school level, teachers from different STEM learning areas can work together to design the curriculum cooperatively, even practice the lesson cooperatively. Apart from curriculum design, teachers need to participate in STEM-relevant workshops to develop their professional competence. Before we teach students to be lifelong learners, we have to be a lifelong learners first. Not only teachers have to put efforts in STEM teaching, but also the principal has to support and provide the STEM vision to convince those parents whose mindsets are trapped into the traditional academic performance. More, the community and the industries can build the partnerships with schools to help learners to explore their interests for their future career earlier. The most important thing is that the government should set a long-term vision of STEM education and provide feasible STEM curriculum guidelines as well as teaching strategies to support the teachers. I believe STEM education is worthwhile. If we work together toward a goal, we will see the fruitful learning outcomes of students. Then our teaching passion and motivation will be ignited again and again. As a saying goes from the movie 3 Idiots, for once, dump your fears, or someday you will regret it. With just a little courage, you could have turned your life around. Let's dump our fears and make the education difference from STEM. Thank you.